excited to see what a large crowd there is today. I appreciate all of you coming. There's a lot going on in our community, and the fact that you take time to come and join us is so important to me. And of course, we have to thank the Rotary for their incredible work on this event each and every year. You give us the opportunity to come together, and we really appreciate that. So I'm going to do a few thank yous and a few more introductions, because it just wouldn't be an event if we didn't recognize those that are here. If we leave you out, just realize it's because we don't have enough time, because you're all important to this group. So once again, I want to thank the Rotary President. I want to thank Andre Susuno. It's wonderful. Monty Sedlak and the entire group that put this on. The State of the City Committee is fabulous every year, and you guys have got it down to a science. I'd like to say to all the Rotarians, you do such important work in our community, and I want to thank you for what you do outside of the state of the city as well as today. With us today, we have Representative Spencer Swan. I saw Spencer somewhere a minute ago, so Spencer, if you want to stand up and say hello to the folks. And we have our Arapahoe County Commissioners. We have what we like to call the Nancys. I think we have Nancy Sharp, Nancy Doty, Nancy Jackson. And then we also have Bill Holan, who is talking about changing his name to Nancy, I think. So I think we have Sue Stranston here from the county, from our county treasurer. And then Douglas County came to visit us. We have Jack Hilbert. Hi, Sue. Hey, Jack, thanks for coming. And my fellow mayors came today, and I think they're here to heckle me, so please try to keep any fruit that you see coming out of their pocket, make sure they don't wing it this direction. We have Ron Murkowski from Greenwood Village, we have Jim Gunning from Lone Tree, we have Doug Tisdale from Cherry Hills Village, and of course Steve Hogan from the City of Aurora. So thanks so much, guys, appreciate it. And from the City of Littleton, we have Phil Cernanek, and from Bennett, we have Mr. Gerber Lee. So thank you for coming in from Bennett. That's wonderful. So we're going to go from those who lead us to those that keep us safe. Of course, we have our Arapahoe County Sheriff, Grayson Robinson. And I believe we have South Metro Fire Chief Dan Qualman out there somewhere. There he is. And then something a little special this year, Buckley Air Force Base has a honorary commander program for the first time. And I'm very privileged to be in that, as is Councilman Weidman. And so today we invited two of our counterparts over at Buckley. So I have Colonel Dant, who runs the Buckley, entire Buckley facility for us. And then we have Captain Oldham from the Navy. So we've got our military representative. Thank you for everything you do. From Congressman Kaufman's office, we have Dustin Zvornik, so thank you. Dustin, I see Dustin, you can wave. All right. And then because there's so many of you, we're just going to say thank you to all the school and special district boards that are here. So if you want to stand up, I know we have South Suburban, we have Cherry Creek Schools, we have Parker Jordan, Dove Valley, you name it, we've got a special district because we are all very special here. All right. You've already heard that who our city council members are, so we're happy to have them with us. But I'd like to take a moment to just have all of our staff stand up for a moment so you see all the folks that serve our city. We have our city manager, John Danielson, our city attorney, Bob Widener, and we have all of our staff, and then if you're a contractor with the city, if you'd all stand so everyone can get a feel for who in the world runs this great community. Thank you all. And now we have some folks that don't get a paycheck. We have our youth commissioners, our senior commissioners, and our planning and zoning board members and committee members. So if you serve on one of our boards or committees, if you'd stand. Because you guys do this out of the goodness of your hearts and your love for your community. Thank you. I'd also really like to thank three special people that joined me today. One of them is the reason I'm here today, and that would be my mother. She started all this about 56 years ago, so thanks, Mom. And And then someone came a long distance to watch me today, and that's my Uncle Alan. He joins us today from Maryland, and he's my favorite in the whole world, and I'm thrilled to have him here, so love you. And then the person who puts up with my schedule, who doesn't get a lot of dinners, and is a wonderful support, and that's my husband, Jim. Thanks, Jim. All right, let's get started. I just want to let you know that this is a little unfair because last Saturday, the Rotary had me help judge their high school speech contest. So I got to sit there and with a few other more professional speech makers in the Toastmaster group and grade, so to speak, or judge some of our high school students. It really put me on the spot thinking about how I was going to do today. So I think that was not very nice to plan those back to back. So next year we're going to chat about that, okay? All right, let's get started. Today is a day that we're going to celebrate what an amazing, exciting city that we live in. And this year there is a great deal to talk about. We know that life is pretty good here and that we have much to be thankful for. However, that's not just a coincidence. Our wonderful city isn't happenstance. It's the result of a well-thought-out plan that was set in motion years ago, a plan that we've implemented and that one that we will take into the future. It was a plan of vision combined with leadership. A little over 10 years ago, the Mayor and Council of Centennial laid out a strategic plan. We have Mayor Pai, Councilman Suhaka, I believe Councilman Bart Miller. You might actually recognize this piece of paper. And you haven't seen it for a while, I'll bet. Well, you're going to review it today. They developed a statement of vision, goals, and values. And as you can see, it certainly wasn't a glitzy document, but it was how we were reflected at the time. But those words that were included in this document said far more was to come. In that document, the writers provided us with a vision for the distant year of 2012. The vision laid out 14 principles to guide our future, 14 goals for Centennial to achieve in 2012. So now that it's 2013, I thought it was time to issue a report card on that 10-year vision. How does the real Centennial of 2012 stack up against those guidelines that were written 10 years ago? So let's take a hard look. First, there were 3 principles related to money. During 2012, we added to our sound, balanced tax base with more commercial and retail property with the annexations of Rock Bottom Brewery, J. Alexander's, and REI. These rounded out the complete Centennial Promenade Shopping Center that we did last year. And this further balanced the amount of residential versus commercial property located within our borders. Along with annexations, we've been very successful with business expansions and retentions, such as Stoli Machinery, LaserTech, and Allosource. These expansions show that Centennial is a great place to do business. These companies could have looked outside their borders, and they could have relocated, but instead, they expanded their original buildings here in our city. They valued their location, and we are thrilled and want to celebrate that they chose to stay with us. We also celebrated a few openings, such as Connections, a healthcare exchange company, Lattices, a very high-tech data center new to Centennial, and we have a new Walmart neighborhood market. With regard to revenue, since everyone always wants to know how we ended the year, I am happy to report that 2012 saw a 24% increase in sales tax. That is a good one. This is due to not only the improving economy, but also sales tax audits and an improved collection of delinquent sales tax. But this self-collection and audit was only possible because we are now a home rule city. This June, Centennial will celebrate the 5th anniversary of becoming a home rule city. And as you can see, that was actually one of the top priorities of this strategic plan. Since becoming a home rule city, we have collected almost $5 million in audit revenue, interest, and penalties, money otherwise that we would not have gotten to help pay for services within our community. Since 2002, we've seen the development of 2 major retail centers, another one of our focuses. Of course, IKEA, you may have noticed that along I-25. We continue to see the benefits of having Colorado's only IKEA. And as I mentioned, the Streets at South Glen has been with us for a number of years, but this year they had new developments. They had Chick-fil-A join, Old Navy, Charming Charlie, and Cafe Rio. And we understand this year there's going to be even more new and exciting retail opportunities at the Streets at South Glen, so I hope you'll come out and check it out. We see that business is strong and will continue for that same path. Principles number 3 and 11 describe the ways our city should be managed and the way we should get work done. At last year's State of the City, I announced John Danielson to be our new city manager. With a long history of contract and startup cities, John shares our values and during his first 9 months, reevaluated what could be done best, whether in-house or by contract. He realigned staff responsibilities for greater efficiency. He helped solidify our commitment to our employees. With performance and compensation revamping, employees have clear expectations and criteria for their success. We also completed a compensation market analysis to ensure our employees and our taxpayers that we compensate fairly. And John emphasizes a philosophy of customer service that permeates throughout all departments to ensure that Centennial does not perform like a typical government. 2012 also saw us renew our commitment to better government through contracting, as we evaluated and renegotiated our public works contract with CH2M Hill. We extended this contract for 5 years at a savings of $1 million while increasing service levels. We've received excellent service from CH2M Hill, and I'd like to take a moment that they also show a commitment to their employees, as reflected in their recognition by Fortune magazine as one of the 100 best companies to work for the 6th time. Typical of the young, yes, that's a good clap. I was waiting for their table to cheer. Come on, you're not that quiet. I know you CH2 people, I see you. Typical of the young, since we are a young city, Centennial is interested in using technology to operate, connect, and serve. Our Public Works Department has added traffic signal controls and weather stations, which help traffic flow more smoothly and increase road safety. And to facilitate those controls, the city is in the process of laying fiber throughout the city to better facilitate communications to those high-tech devices. We've increased our online services, from paying your court fines online to making a park reservation. Our Centennial website serves and provides information. We also have internal software systems that allow tracking of all citizen concerns and the work orders to complete those concerns. And that software also allows our officers to work in the field for greater efficiency. And we also implemented electronic plan review, and that saves paper, time, and money for those very large land development cases that we so greatly appreciate in our community. Principle number 6 stated that Centennial should be a safe community. Well, I'm proud once again to remind everyone that Centennial is the safest city in Colorado for the 8th consecutive year. This can be credited in part, of course, to the outstanding work done by our public safety contractor, the Arapahoe County Sheriff's Office. And they share our values and principles, and they showed that by achieving the Gold Standard Accreditation with Excellence Award for law enforcement agencies. But the Arapahoe County Sheriff's Office is only one of a handful of agencies that achieved 100% compliance. And that is something to applaud our officers for. Thank you. Of course, we're also a safer community by our fire districts. Centennial is served by 3 different fire districts. Cunningham Fire achieved its first accreditation this year, and they joined an elite group of only 160 fire departments worldwide. The South Metro Rescue Fire Authority Chief Dan Qualman, well, he received the first ever George Mazzetti Fire Chief of the Year Award and was also named the Distinguished Manager of the Year by the Special District Association. And Littleton Fire Department, well, they went out on a limb, and they provided opportunities for elected officials to be a firefighter for a day. As you can see, Councilmember Gardner, who's known for his ride-alongs, brought me along. And we put on our uniform and learned firsthand what a demanding job it was. And we had a great time in burning buildings, and we sawed some cars apart, and we truly got to go up the hook and ladder truck. So, Mr. Gardner, I appreciate you helping me take that day on. It was fun. And you know, I also want to take a moment that while we work very hard to be a safe community, sometimes things happen that are out of our control. The tragedy in Aurora and the Waldo Canyon fires in Colorado Springs had our state facing that fact once again. In those tragic circumstances, what matters is how you handle it. And I'm so proud to say that our community came together and provided assistance. Our fire district stepped up and helped Colorado Springs and others fight their fires, and our sheriff's department provided assistance to Aurora at the time of the tragedy, but they continue to handle the ongoing impacts of holding the trial in our community. Please, let's give a huge round of applause to our first responders and thank them for being outstanding neighbors and protectors. Back to our report card. There were 2 principles related to city planning, otherwise known to us as community development. Number 5 was planned growth and development, and number 10 was redevelopment and reuse of older commercial retail areas and neighborhoods. In 2012, we saw our new form-based land development code, our LDC, in action. So far, we've updated the zoning for residential property as well as institutional property within the city. And now we'll be working on all commercial property, and that is quite an endeavor. But interestingly enough, this code is so popular that we already have commercial applicants applying to have their zoning changed so they are under the new land development code sooner than we have it implemented. Businesses appreciate the clear parameters and efficiencies of that LDC, and our residents appreciate that their interests are protected. And we also saw some technical amendments to that LDC. You all might remember that this year we discussed falcons, horses, bees, and chickens. It was quite wild, so to speak. And where necessary, we adopted amendments and addressed the pets, livestock, and wildlife that also happen to reside in our city. This process allowed the planning staff and the council to take a closer look at what was important to the residents of our community and to adjust the zoning accordingly to each and every area. Thanks to a lot of hard work in 2012, including plenty of public involvement, the I-25 corridor plan is well underway. As you'll take a look at the map, this corridor that borders I-25 is key to the core of Centennial. And this type of analysis and planning provides a vision for Centennial as it ages and redevelops. As a direct result of just such planning is the recent announcement of a 42-acre business park to be developed on the largest single ownership parcel in this area, the Jones property, which is just north of IKEA. The Jones District, as it will be called, will have 1.8 million square feet of mixed use, primarily office buildings. We look forward to working more with the Jones Company as we implement our new code. But even without a large development in 2012, we issued more than 15,000 building permits. That is quite a sign that our businesses and our residents are reinvesting in our community. Our building services contractor, Safe Built, excelled in customer service by going above and beyond, as told in an email I received from a mom in the Fox Ridge neighborhood. One morning, this mom was filling bird feeders in her garage while her toddler played in the driveway, and the garage door was open. And the mom could see her daughter, but someone out on the street certainly wouldn't have noticed that. So the mom heard a truck stop nearby and then slowly pull up near her driveway. Well, the truck driver then saw the mom, stopped, waved, nodded, and it was clear to this mother that our Safe Built employee, who was probably on his way to an inspection, wanted to make sure that this child was not wandering alone and that she was okay. The mom took the time to write to me and express her gratitude that the city worker's neighborly gesture was important to her. And here's what she said. "To tell you the truth, my husband and I lived downtown for 7 years and never thought we would move to the burbs. Now, quite frankly, we are chagrined that it took us so long to get here. We love it. We love our mailman Mike, our sheriff's deputy Jeff, our school, and now a nameless neighbor who stopped this morning to make sure my little girl was cared for. Our employees and our contractors care about the city and go above and beyond to make sure we are a great place to live. Thanks to all of you. And with the amount of email that we on council often get, when we get one like that, those are those keepers. And I have a special little place that I just call nice things. And when you have a really bad day on council, sometimes you read those and you just, that's the other side of being on council. All right, let's get back to this report card. We're at principles number 7 and 9, and they focus on public works, which to us is streets. The one thing we do that the public notices most and probably comments most. During 2012, we made significant improvements to our transportation network by scientifically assessing each and every street and committing to an overall high level of pavement condition. We increased the number of miles maintained with best and award-winning practices. We increased the amount of snow plowing while reducing costs with route optimization. This innovative approach using GPS and algorithms helped reduce the time it took to plow our previous snow routes by 40%. And it allowed us to add 93 additional lane miles to the plowing for each and every snowstorm at no additional cost and as a direct benefit to our residential areas. While we worked diligently on our own roads, we also worked with other governmental entities on I-25 and Arapahoe Road, on C-470, and we signed an intergovernmental agreement with Lone Tree that provides clarity for the maintenance and the improvements that will go to County Line Road between our borders. For many years, the worst rated pavement in Centennial was Peoria Street, kind of embarrassing when it's just down from your city hall. But after much planning, the Peoria Roundabout, the first in the city, was installed, and along with a new concrete street, seems to be working pretty well. And considering the amount of truck traffic that is located right there, it's very interesting to see double tractor trailers going in a roundabout. So our engineers did a great job. So thanks to the engineers for making that work. And they know the mayor was a bit skeptical, but they've proven me wrong, and they like that. We also purchased a public works building and a yard. So this is a piece of property at Jordan Road and Eagle Street. And this site will provide a permanent home for our trucks, our plows, our snow and ice materials, and it's also going to be saving our taxpayers money. Not going to be renting, we're going to be owning. The 6-acre concrete yard that went along with the building is alone worth more than the $2.75 million that we paid for the entire property. There is so much concrete out there, we couldn't have bought a piece of ground and put that amount of concrete in, and we got an entire building and an additional 3 acres. Our areas are often judged by their visible infrastructure, and Centennial is showing our commitment to exceeding expectations when it comes to roads and transportation infrastructure. Our people want it, and we want to provide good service. So moving on to what we do that might be a little more fun, the writers of these principles included a commitment to outdoor recreation. 2012 saw the official opening of Centennial Center Park, which has had amazing use from the beginning from people all over the metropolitan area. I have talked to people from Evergreen who have driven completely solely to come to our park because they heard about it on some mom's blog on the internet. It's amazing. And it had so much use that we had to add over 200 parking spaces just a few months after it opened because we had kids and swimmies, and it was a mess. So we've got a brand new parking lot and handled all that additional traffic. It was great. The Center Park was also the winner of the Great Outdoors Colorado Starburst Award and is one of the 10 finalists for Dr. Cog's Live, Work, and Play Award. This is one instance where we encourage you to vote, and you can also vote often. It's actually encouraged, and the information is in your program. We hope you'll go in and vote for our park to be one of the winners. It will be announced on April 24th, so we'll see if we win this. We also celebrated the grand opening of the Parker Jordan Centennial Open Space, which is off of Broncos Parkway near Tagawa. And we look forward to this summer, the 3 Creek 5K race to be held there once again. I did it last year while there was some construction, so this year, now that it's done, we're looking forward to going out and getting some exercise. Each year, Centennial receives a portion of the Arapahoe County open space funding, and it's paid through that open space sales tax that the voters in our county passed. We distribute the money to parks and open space within our city. This year, in addition to sharing with the 2 large park districts that we normally do, we opened this up to our school and metro district area parks that are located within our city. By designating these neighborhood parks, they're eligible to share into funding. And we did approve 6 projects to begin this year. So some of your open space dollars will be spread even further to benefit your community. Our final 3 principles focused on a citizen's experience with government. And this is where we certainly don't want to be typical. Centennial provides numerous opportunities for citizens to be involved in our city. We have 68 citizens serving on 10 boards, commissions, and advisory groups. District meetings have increasingly good attendance, and they provide a great opportunity for our council, our staff, and our citizens to have a direct communication and sharing of information. By providing their unique perspectives, our business technical advisory group, that's a long one, and our senior and youth commission weigh into council. And this year will be giving us their thoughts on how we implement, or don't implement, but actually how we implement, Amendment 64 in the city of Centennial. We have project open houses and neighborhood development meetings, and they provide citizens an opportunity for input prior to decision-making by council. In Centennial, the citizen's voice is important. And we take it as a sign of trust that citizens overwhelmingly passed our ballot measure 2D, our Tabor question, last November. This allows the city of Centennial to retain and spend all city revenues from funding sources now or in the future. Since 2006, the citizens of Centennial had given us a temporary debrucing. But this permanent exemption shows that they have a level of trust that we have earned by our citizens, and we really appreciate the voters giving us this opportunity. We build mutual respect, confidence, and trust by responding to citizen inquiries with excellent customer service. For example, our Citizens Response Center, that's one of our responders, Laurel there, she's wonderful to talk to. They took nearly 20,000 calls last year, and they reached their 100,000th call overall in 2012. We've had an 11% increase in 2012 over 11, and it shows that our citizens understand and are now using and appreciate this service. 24/7, you can have a live person if you find an issue with the city, any issue at all. I received an email last fall that also serves as an example of the importance of the way we treat people and how we respond to their needs. After his visit to Centennial, James Miller wrote to me the following. Recently, I visited Colorado and took my nieces to Centennial Park. I have to say that I've been to a lot of parks, and your city park is the best one I've ever seen. It's fun, educational, and best of all, free. Kudos to you and your staff. My wife and I might be moving back here as our hearts and families still live in the Denver area. If we do, the first place we'll look for residence is in your wonderful city. Well, that's great. That's very pleasant. But the thing you don't know about James Miller is that the first part of his letter describes an accident that his mother had on a sidewalk near her home in Centennial. She came to the city to tell us about her accident so we could fix the situation that caused it. Mr. Miller was so appreciative of the response that his mother received that the cause of the accident was fixed and how the matter was handled that he wrote this letter. As I said earlier, sometimes unfortunate accidents happen. But once again, what matters is the way you handle it. And I know our city will continue to look for ways to address citizens' concerns. Guess what? We're at number 14. It is appropriate that Principle 14 is the last goal, as pride is a result of doing everything else on this list well. As you can see, Centennial's culture is what we do well. By the number of awards won this year, it shows others are noticing our work. However, city pride not only comes from what the city itself does, but from what those in your city accomplish. There's a certain ownership of those who reside in your city. And if you think about it, Denver has a long history of professional sports teams and notable figures. But now Centennial has its own hometown hero, who made a splash on the Olympic stage or pool in this case, last summer. Missy Franklin's amazing success, genuine poise, and grace gave our residents a glow in the summer of 2012. The Summer Olympics Golden Girl was our Golden Girl. Citizens contacted the city inquiring how the city planned to welcome Missy home. So, with an amazing place of our own, Center Park, it provided the perfect backdrop for a big community celebration. With only 72 hours to implement, and with the help from the governor's office, Centennial invited all Colorado Olympians to our Center Park and afforded the Colorado residents a brush with celebrity, and especially with our hometown hero. The accomplished athletes who attended were touched to be honored, truly touched. It was amazing speaking to these young people. And the youngsters in the crowd were pretty wide-eyed. When Missy Franklin was walking down the sidewalk, it was truly, they were hero worshiping. And the city shone at its best. We did it great. Governor Hickenlooper, there we go. So thankful he's not here. Governor Hickenlooper told me the event was exactly what our community needed following the Aurora tragedy and the summer wildfires. He said this is what we need. We needed a coming together and something happy to celebrate. And it was truly my proudest moment as a Centennial resident to be able to give that opportunity to everyone. So Centennial Park was a big success spring, summer, and fall. We thought, why not try winter? We had a brand new 30-foot spruce tree planted in our park, so we held our first inaugural holiday tree lighting ceremony, and we had over 300 school children come and perform with their school choral groups. The park provided a festive glow for those that were traveling Arapahoe Road during the holiday season. And I have had more comments about that, and you figure that was a winter event, and people were like, are you doing it next year? You might see it again. So these kinds of experiences and a specific mention of Center Park are why it's no surprise to us that Money Magazine chose Centennial as the 47th best place to live in 2012. Who would have imagined a city only 12 years old would be on this Money Magazine's list? We are so proud of ourselves. And in addition to Money Magazine, others in the media were also taking notice and talking about Centennial. For a little fun and just to get a visual feel for what was said, we did one of the word clouds. And this is made up of all the frequently used words that were in the press and in the headlines about us last year. You have copies on your table, so take a look at it later, and I think you'll be proud to see how positive Centennial was viewed. So for those of you that haven't done a word cloud, the more it's mentioned in something, the more time the word is mentioned, the bigger the font, and so you can take a look at what was said. There were some amazing things that popped in there, and you didn't even realize somebody was talking about it. Well, since we've had a pretty good 2012, and we hope it's going to be an even better place to live in 2013, I thought I'd give you a sneak peek of what's on the horizon. Innovation and customer service are going to be focused. During our reorganization last year, these two areas were designated as key to Centennial's culture. The Collaborative Office of Innovation will be looking at creative ways to do all things better, whether funding projects or technology advances. Our customer service will cross departments to ensure our customers, our residents, and our businesses have the best possible experience with working in Centennial. We want to continue establishing low-cost programs that encourage voluntary compliance over punitive measures. Be it sidewalk shoveling with our Snow Hero program or licensing a dog. Centennial believes we should all be good neighbors, and we'd like to recognize those who are so. Of course, road improvements will continue to be a high priority, and there are some exciting projects on the horizon. Work will begin on the design of the I-25 Arapahoe interchange, and the quest for funding will continue at the state and the federal level. Phase 1 is a reality. We have funding for that. So watch for the corner of Arapahoe Road and Yosemite Street to have some work, probably in late 2014. The C470 Coalition will work to implement the preferred option to add a managed toll lane or two from I-25 to Kipling. And we're all looking forward to ending the gridlock at C470. And I'm so pleased that we are focusing on Arapahoe Road from Waco to Himalaya. That is east of Parker Road. It's the last little chunk that's 2 lanes. It goes from 6 lanes to 2 lanes and back to 6 lanes. Well, the plan is to widen this stretch of 2-lane roadway, a project that many have waited for even before Centennial was a city. And this project has many challenges. However, City Council has decided to take it on. We've committed $4 million in 2014 to get us started. It's a high priority for Centennial, and it will require us to work with our partners and neighbors to make Arapahoe Road a more efficient route for commuters, businesses, students, and families. 2013 is also going to see a few new improvements to Center Park. Shade structures, the demonstration garden by the Centennial Rotary that was mentioned earlier, and improvements to the stage area will allow for more events and greater enjoyment of the park. Some of those events are Nuggets coach George Carl will be holding his Reggae in the Park with the Whalers, a concert benefiting his cancer care initiative, and that's going to be on July 27th. So if you'd like to come out to the park for some reggae music and for a good cause, come on out. We're looking to do a dog days. We want a special day for dogs and their owners. And of course, Centennial Under the Stars. Our annual event is going to be revamped. There's going to be some special features that aren't affected by fire bans, which have certainly impacted all of us last year with our fireworks and the year before. So we're looking at something a little different. Can't tell you what it is, but I hope you won't miss this event. Please join us at that. And of course, we will do an even bigger and better holiday tree lighting celebration. I hope you have the opportunity to come out and have some fun with us in 2013. So those who created the strategic plan laid out these principles, and Centennials followed up on them. One of the reasons we've been successful is because we've had 4 council members who have provided consistent leadership to our city for the past 8 years. In 2005, Centennial elected 4 new council members. And because our council members can only serve 2 4-year terms, these 4 council members are now in their last years of service to their district. Remember, Centennial's only 12 years old, so these 4 council members have served for 2/3 of the city's life. We've made a little video so you can hear from these 4 individuals who will be leaving office next January. District 1, Rick Dendinger, District 2, Sue Bozier, District 3, Rebecca McClellan, and District 4, Ron Weidman.
My fondest memory serving on City Council has been the redevelopment of the streets of South Glen. It was great to be there when they demolished it, and here's a picture of 2 of my kids when they took down, they had the rolling balls in there and they took it down. And then the best thing has been, since it's opened, being able to go back and enjoy it as a family.
Actually, it was the day that we hired John Danielson because of his expertise in contract cities to become our city manager.
Celebrating Missy Franklin's Olympic achievements, that comes to mind. I think that was a real boost for the whole community. I really enjoy watching our youth commissioners blossom as leaders. We have a lot of Boy Scouts come and lead us in the Pledge of Allegiance, and one scout troop in particular, they were very, very young and very, very serious, and they started yelling the Pledge of Allegiance. And that was one of those moments where we knew we weren't supposed to laugh, but it was very hard not to. So there were a lot of smiles exchanged, and it was kind of a nice way to start the meeting.
Most of all, it's the people that I've worked with that are the fondest memories. My proudest moment was when we opened the Civic Center and we did it debt-free. So we now have a home and a building and a wonderful park.
My proudest achievement on City Council is the fact that over the 8 years that I've been here, we have increased services, not just in terms of quantity, but more importantly in terms of quality. And we've done that without raising taxes.
Keeping our fiscal house in order and at the same time finally fully funding the maintenance of our roads while not raising any fees or hiking any taxes.
Without regionalism, the park would not happen. And thank goodness the Parker Jordan Metropolitan Centennial Open Space, our Center Park are some of the proudest achievements there. We have parks and trails that would not have happened. Regionalism is created everything that we have in our open space.
Reaching out and knocking on doors and getting to know whole neighborhoods that are impacted by transportation or development projects has kind of left in some areas of the city a lasting legacy of engagement that I think will continue after I leave council.
My hopes for the future of Centennial really rests on the City Council and the decisions that they make. And I'd like to see our roads in great shape as they are right now. And most of all, I'd like to see us be debt-free.
I would like to see Centennial continue to gain successful retailers and other employers like IKEA and the successful retailers at Centennial Promenade, and the employers that we have like United Launch Alliance, Allosource, and Cochlear. I think those jobs are really what Centennial citizens are glad to have in their backyard.
I dream to pass an ordinance that would reduce or eliminate the franchise fees on our citizens' oil and gas bills.
My dream for Centennial is that it be a great place to work, to live, and to play. That's my hope, that's my expectation.
The greatness of women should not be measured by her achievement, but by the price she's willing to pay to achieve it. Perseverance and determination will carry her through to the final end.
The hardest thing to learn is to be totally honest and not be afraid of your decisions, and to talk, keep talking and listening. You listen first, then you talk, and to trust your staff. You have to trust other people.
Keep that spirit of engagement that got you elected. Keep reaching out, keep reaching back to the citizens that you serve.
You're going to hear from all sorts of constituencies, businesses, residential, you're going to hear from staff, you're going to hear from your spouse, you're going to hear from your friends, you're going to hear from your neighbors. It's very important for you to make the decision that you in your heart think is best for the city. If you spend a lot of time listening to all those voices, you're going to go in all sorts of different directions and you're not going to get it right. At the end of the day, you have to listen to your heart and to what your heart says is the right thing for the city.
As you can see, their legacy is undeniable, and that they've laid the foundation for Centennial's future. I'm so glad that you all took a moment to recognize these four. It's been a pleasure to work with them. They've taught me so much because I was the newbie, and they came in and helped me along, and I will miss them. So next year, we'll have 4 new councilpersons who will hopefully continue to use these highly successful principles to guide our future. So it appears that our 2002 vision and continued leadership have worked hand in hand. We seem to have done pretty well. And with accomplishments like these, I hope you agree that this is one report card you won't be afraid to take home to Mom and Dad. In closing, I thank you for joining us each and every year to hear about Centennial, and I also want to thank each of you for your contributions to our incredible community. Together, we really did it. Thank you.
Standing ovation.